Hi, and welcome back. I wanted to take a chance tonight to walk through the second photo assignment of the class that I'm taking online from Stanford. And this assignment was focused on macro photography. Definitely not something that I normally partake in. Macro photography has never been something that I've been super invested in. But surprisingly, with that being said, I do have three macro type lenses in my kit. Super lucky to have them. Two of them I got when I was stationed overseas in Japan and had a lot of access to vintage lenses. Excuse me, that came out um, domestically produced in Japan. So I was super lucky. But also while I was out there, I picked up a newer lens, the 105 VR2. So the three lenses I have are the 35 to 70 f3.5 that has a macro mode at the longest end at 70 millimeters. I also have the AIS 105 micro f2.8 lens that came out, I think, in the 80s or so. And then I have, like I said, the newer 105 f2.8. This one was made in China, so I think it was produced somewhere in between 2008 and when I bought it, which was, I think, back in like 2019 or so, maybe 2018. But all three of these lenses I've tried in a macro mode one way or another over the past few months. So in the spirit of the assignment, I tried and used my manual focus lenses during a couple of recent outings to see if I could get some macro-like photos. The most recent one was during a wedding photo shoot for a cousin of mine. I used the AIS version of the 105 f2.8 to take this photo of the wedding rings, which I've seen a bunch of people do, so I wanted to give it a try. It was super fun. I took it on the Nikon ZF with the FTZ adapter. Super easy to manual focus on the ZF. Super easy to manual focus on the Z7 as well, but just very fun using this super old lens on the old styling of the ZF. It's super fun. Got a good photo though, so it's kind of fun. It's harder to focus using macro lenses than I thought it would be just overall, especially not using a tripod like I was doing here. Just the depth of field just is super shallow, so you really have to find what you want to get in focus in the photo, and that's kind of hard when you're in the moment trying to get a shot. But it's super fun either way. The second opportunity I used to try and get a macro shot was actually this photo I took over at Pleasure House Point here in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is a super cool oasis out here in the middle of the city. You find this really cool swampy, beachy type walking area that has really pretty puddles and little moats around that you can take photos of and walk through all the foliage and the trees while also being kind of shoreside along the beach. And while walking along there, I found these really cool flowers. I'll have to look up the name, but they have this like cottony looking flower type to them, and there's this really lovely sunset that was happening while I was walking, and I thought I might use this 70 millimeter macro end to this lens to try and get a nice photo of the flower with the sunset in the background. And I think I got a pretty good shot with this one, but it was able to get pretty darn close. Maybe not as close as the 105 with the rings, but still pretty darn close. If I remember correctly, I think the focusing range for the 35 is 1.15 feet, and the 105 f2.8 AIS lens is looks like 1.34 feet. So I can get a little closer with the 35 to 70, but because it's still a little bit wider than the 105, it doesn't look nearly as big in the frame. So a little bit of a trade-off, but still fun either way. I think both photos are good. But last photo I took was a little bit cheating for the assignment because I didn't do it before, or sorry, I didn't do it while I've been taking the class. This was a bit before, But I went to the botanical gardens with this lens a while back and was practicing focus stacking, which is a bigger pain in the butt than I ever thought it'd be. So I don't know if that's my style of photography, but I gave it a try, and I got this really cool, pretty photo. I have a few others, but this one I think just had the most lovely contrast to the green colors of the leaves and the really nice red leaves of the flower. Not my favorite because as I learned with macro photography, you have to really watch your framing, and I cut the top of the leaf off. I did that for most of these leaf photos, so I have a lot to practice with that macro photography type of subject. But overall, I think it still ended up pretty good. And focus stacking it in Photoshop was definitely something I wasn't used to, and I got a little practice with this one, and it ended up coming out pretty cool. I just think it's a really pretty photo, and it shows, I think, the beauty that a macro lens can bring. I think all three of them did that, but this one in particular really showed me how cool you can get these macro shots to look. But otherwise, I think I achieved the assignment overall. Maybe not my best photos ever, but it's super fun to shoot macro lenses. But after going through that and looking at how often or not often I use these macro lenses, I think I actually might be getting rid of the big chonky VR2 lens. Even when I was shooting with with this lens on the Nikon Z7 on a tripod, it was a bit unwieldy. It's definitely heavy, and it's bigger than either of these two lenses. Obviously, it has autofocus, and I think that was really helpful when I was trying to focus stack with the Nikon Z7 on the tripod and blend the photos in later. But if I'm really not going to be doing that, because I didn't really enjoy it all that much, the whole process, and I think I might get rid of this lens and trade up for something that I think I might get more use of, maybe the 14 to 30 wide angle lens or something like that. So unfortunately, I think I might be getting rid of this. But otherwise, it was fun diving into a type of photography that I don't normally partake in. But thanks for joining me tonight. I think I'm